All right, so welcome back, everybody. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin here today. I mean, we've been looking at this range for a hot minute, right? I've got this yearly key level up here because that's pretty much that next major area. If we do resolve this range to the upside, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off to just kind of focus on this range a bit, what we have in between here. So we've got our range low coming in here and our range high, right, that we've been looking after this on a structural basis here, basically since January 5th almost. And we've got a point of control right here. We essentially fell out of this range over here in the January 21st pullback here, all the way down to our doomsday level, right, that we were looking for. Right, we were looking for these volume targets to the downside. We had a monthly NPOC. It's not NPOC anymore, but I keep it on there just to kind of touch on. We never got to the weekly NPOC right below that. Obviously, if those areas did not hold, then we would have been looking down to this $29,000 level. So far, we've taken off from there. We were looking to regain these levels to consider upside continuation. This was basically the 2-year, high time frame key level right here. We basically re-entered into the previous yearly range as well. That basically ranges here from about 41,000 all the way up to 64K. So far, we've been holding within that. But we'll get into that in another date here. But just for what we're looking at today in this current range, we are still holding above these levels right here. So far, so good on that. We put in a higher high. We were looking for this possible uptrend here. But recently, we had this pullback down to the point of control and held it, pretty well. Below this, if we were to lose this area, which, we kind of have to start thinking about once again now because, we came up, we tagged this golden pocket. We were really looking to reclaim this area, challenge into the range highs again. And then, essentially you're looking to resolve this to the upside, having a break into this previous range over here that we experienced back in December time, right when we pretty much topped out at, 52K before getting, that next drawdown. So that would be the next area that we pretty much enter into. We have a couple of natural targets if we do break this range high, about 45, almost 46K. One being that yearly key level that we just spoke on, right? About 47,700 area. After that, you got the point of control for this previous range as well, coming in about 49K. And then you've got obviously the range high coming about 50,000. So regardless, obviously we got a couple of pit stops in the way. We do have this this yearly key level here, and I think the actual previous weekly as well comes in about 46 and change. So either way, you got a couple of hiccups in the way between then and there. But none of that even is really worth looking into until we break this range high, right? So now looking at what we have here is we did come up, we printed this higher high right here, came back down. We've got our higher low, but now we're putting in a lower high, right? We could not retake this golden pocket so far. Still possible to do so, but we did get a rejection from here, and currently we're back testing this the weekly pivot. All right, so this is we lose this and we're heading back down to the point of control, right? So from here, now we're looking at possible downtrend again, right? Once again, you just got to be prepared for it. These lower targets that we've been looking at, are not off the table by any means, especially if you lose this point of control down here at 42K. Now, this point of control is also a quarterly key level, right? So we got some double stacked support coming in for us. I think this is I say it every day, quarter, yeah. So we've got a quarterly key level. You've got your point of control. Obviously, we held that really well right here. You can see how it was respected pretty much on this end as well. And over here too, right? We shot back into this range and essentially we straight up to the point of control, held it as resistance for a hot minute, broke that, ran it to the range highs, got a rejection, back to the point of control. We lose that point of control, and then realistically, you kind of have to anticipate seeing the range lows again, right? You might not make it all the way back to the range lows. We do have this area in between us here, as well as we've got and then you got the 2-year key level, which is the level we wanted to see broken and held above to consider upside continuation. So this can still be back tested as support. You'd still be putting in a higher low versus our low over here. And we could still kind of look towards this upside movement here, but in the short term, be aware of these levels still, right? We've been talking on these 4 or 5 levels here for at least 3 to 4 weeks straight, basically every single day, right? We know our upside targets at this point. That they don't even get activated, so to speak, until we break this range high, though. So until then, you got to be aware of what we're sitting on right now. And if we hold this pivot right here, you got a little, I'm sure bull flags are getting thrown around right now. And if that's the case, right, you could look at it in that fashion, and you get that break, and we would be above that range high, right? If that was a bull flag, if that plays out as a bull flag, whatever. But for me, I'm looking at this pivot more so being held, lose that, probably dropping back down to this quarterly level, and this point of control. Both those are about $42,000 in that realm, right? So if it's 41.9, 41.8, you get a wick down to the below that. It's still kind of in the realm of the area. And below that, what do we got? Right, we've got this CME gap that never got filled from like 2 weeks ago, which doesn't have to be filled, and doesn't have to be filled right now either, right? Like we just filled this CME futures gap from last July, and there's several that have never even gotten filled in general. But what else lines up with this CME gap area is that this is the previous weekly pivot that is been that was never retested, right? So could see that, right? If we lose this would be the next area of interest for me. We've talked about this idea multiple times as well. This is going to be a very big level of interest for many people because of that CME gap, right? Most people aren't probably looking at the weekly pivot, so that really won't be, something of conversation, but the CME gap will be, because it's about that. It's like 40,600, 40,500. It's in that same, $100, $200 window of price action here. And to me, if we get to that level, I think it's very likely we drop back down, we retest here. You look at that price too, right? It breaks that psychological level of 40K. We'd be back down at that 39,000, and change. Everybody's going to anticipate, we're going back to 30, blah, blah, right? This is actually a very major level though, right? This is 2 years of price action right here. So losing that would not be great. Don't get that wrong, right? That would be a big level to reclaim after that. But what we do have below here, and once again, we talked about this 38K. We got levels all the way down, right? So I mean, you can make a case for even going back down to 30, 33 and whatever. We do have that weekly NPOC down here that never got tapped, right? That we were looking for right there, right? 32,000 and change. So that's still a very valid target, especially if we start coming down that way. Thing is that when we do, if we do, this is still a game of if. We could totally blast out of here on this bull flag idea, right? You break that range high, everything changes, right? That's how it all works. The same thing goes right here. Talked on this space, we talked in this range, everything changed when we broke through here, and now we can look up to the next level. Till that happened, right? We had to anticipate what was below us and what was above us. So right now, to invalidate a lot of this downside action at the moment, you're going to have to break that range high. But at the same time, you could hold these levels as support, right? This is, back down to 40K, back down to 42K. You're talking, 8-10% fluctuation here. Nothing really crazy. Obviously, it wouldn't be amazing for, the altcoin market to see Bitcoin drop 8 or 10%. It's going to definitely be 16 to 20 in all the alts across the board. These would be the levels that we're looking for. Very, very, the same exact ones we've been looking at, right? So now this level right here, 38,000. So I'm just kind of painting a picture here for everybody, right? So just be aware of these, because right here, the CME gap, I guarantee, I don't want to say guarantee, I would imagine we drop down to this level. This is probably where everybody's going to want hoping that a bottom would be in if we get that low, right? This is all on ifs right now. And this idea gets triggered once we lose this level. You lose 41,800 or 41,800, 41,900. You got to look down, right? So that would be the next level coming in. CME gap would be top of everybody's mind. And that to me, it would be pretty much the reason why I would imagine that we drop down to this 24-month key level below that. Sit there for a hot minute, get everybody worked up, really, on the edge. And then this could be where we probably turn around if we do see these levels come in. Once again, you could turn around right now also, right? So we plan our reactions at these levels, right? So right now, if we get this, just bull flag bust out of here, then, break that range high, and we're probably going to continue on to the upside. If you don't, you got that quarterly key level, point of control, weekly pivot, CME gap, 2-year key level coming in here. And what's really special about this one right here, and you'd still be putting in a higher high, right? If we come down here, you'd still be, a higher low, right? You'd still be putting in a higher low from this market structure right here. And what's so special about this little area right here, once again, right, is this is the monthly open. We're stacked with support right here. So this is also the monthly open. You see that clicking on. It's not only the range low, it's the monthly open, all right? And then there's also a volume target right there. 38, like $200 difference right there. So you got the weekly NPOC that we left back here at about 38.5. You got the range lows about 38.1, and then you've got the monthly open basically right on 38 and change as well. So you got a cluster of support right here. So big support. I mean, this is not necessarily huge support coming in right here, but between these two levels right here, between this $1,000 of price action there's a lot of pretty decent support coming in right there. So if you wake up and you see that number, right, you're going to see everybody probably start freaking out looking for 30. And you know, once again, you have to look for it. You have to, you know, anticipate it. But, you know, these would be levels of, you know, we'd be looking for some other things at this point, right? We'd probably start looking at the order flow and things of that nature around these levels to get some indication to see if we'd be turning around at that point. See what kind of, do I see the inverse head and shoulders? I do, right? So that is, we talked about that. Last night we had a really great live stream in the Discord for members only, and we were talking about just that. That's a good right there, right? So many, and this could play out. Don't get me wrong. Many are gonna not hope, but be looking for this to play out. So far, we haven't, you know, necessarily completed that, but this is where everybody's looking for, you know, this inverse head and shoulders right here, and this target I think is like 58K. Which is interesting because that's a pretty big level that, you know, that's pretty much the yearly point of control up there. So that would be a great, you know, a great deal to go through. But for right now, I guess, you know, it's just important to kind of note what we're looking for too. And if that's the case, if that does play out, then that would be triggered once we break that range high anyway. So, to me, I'm looking for that range high to break. I know that that's pretty much, you know, almost in line, I guess, with that. If you're going to be looking for this, because that's probably about the same. Yeah, you're looking for this neckline to break about 46.5 if you're going to be going off of this idea of an inverse head and shoulders. And yeah, so I mean, either way, you know, we're still kind of, I guess we're looking for the same thing at that point. But otherwise, if this fails, right, because, you know, Bitcoin is notorious. A lot of altcoins have a lot more success with head and shoulders patterns and just like more blatantly obvious patterns, because not everyone in the market is paying attention to every altcoin, right? So if you see, you know, head and shoulders pop up on Quant, or if you see a head and shoulders pop up on, you know, Solana or AVAX or whatever, they tend to play out a little bit more. And the reason I bring that up is because this is such an easy fake out, if you're going to call it that, right? And only because a lot of people will be just assuming that this will play out, and you really can't, you know, nail that down till you get that breakout and retest. Maybe not even get the retest, but in general, break that neckline on this end. But at that point, we're already kind of prepared for that scenario, anyways, with what we're looking at for the range, right? So, because if you break that 46K, you know, now you're re-entering into this previous range over here, right? And you got that yearly that we were just talking about. You got the point of control coming in here. You got an NPOC. So we got the levels right above us, and then you got the range high at 52. You know, overall 58K is a big level to watch as we start climbing back up. But yeah, so many eyes will be on this, you know, on this inverse head and shoulders. So what could it play out for sure? But you know, we're waiting for that specific, you know, level is, you know, that's just one way I guess we could do it no matter what. Like I'm not going to shoot that down by any means, because that they do play out. They just don't play out often, especially on Bitcoin. You'll see a very blatantly obvious descending triangle or this or that, right? Like, and everybody's talking about everybody, and everybody can see it usually, right? It's very, very obvious, and everybody looks at Bitcoin, right? Not everybody looks at all the altcoins. So that's the reason I bring that up, is like a lot of times you'll see these on altcoins and they play out very well, a little bit easier to trade. On Bitcoin, sometimes it's a little tomfoolery. So this is what I'd be looking for more than anything for now. And if you do break that range high, then it's you're in the same ballpark, I guess, as well, right? But from here, I just wouldn't be looking for a straight run back up to 58K, and that's once again if we get that level. So everything changes. We activate these upward targets as soon as we get this 46K, and that could happen, right? Like we could get this sort of bull flag break right here, and this is kind of a sloppy bull flag if you ask me at this point. And we do look like we're starting to lose this pivot here. So if this does come back down, just once again, we're looking to this key level point of control. Got that CME gap down here that may never fill, right? We may literally just turn around at some of these points, but just be prepared to see when these levels start getting taken out, or if they do, just know that there's some why as to why we may see these levels below it, right? So come back down and retest this 39K, not off the table, right? Makes sense. This is a huge level right here. We broke straight past it. I don't know if you can see this on TikTok. Broke straight past it and just kind of shot straight through. Coming back to retest that and taking off wouldn't be off the table. You also got this huge cluster, right? I love the double stack, the triple stacked areas, right? That are just either major support or major resistance. And this 38K, it's 38.5, 38.1, right? It's just within $1,200 of this. Imagine the mental breakdowns if we break 40K again, right? And then we start seeing things like 38. Everyone will be assuming we're just going straight down to 30, right? And you could, right? We always could, but there is a lot of why right here. One of them being this right here, that NPOC. You got a volume target right there. That tends to get filled. Now there is another one down there at 32, right? So there's a little argument, I guess, across the board, and there's actually another one down at 29K. So same deal, almost like a CME gap, right? They don't have to, but there's a pretty high rate that they do fill quite often. I think by Monday we'll have a better idea of what direction it's heading in. If you were in the group last night, man, we covered a really, really amazing scenario here with VT, and whether and it's both sides. It's not just saying like, oh, it's just going up or it's just going down or anything. But I do think that by Monday, Monday's a key date. I'll say that Monday is a key date coming up. So we'll be looking for some Monday moves. Either way, dropping now. Yep, see, losing that pivot as we speak. Filtered Life, how you doing? And this was a really, I'm glad that this kind of happened live, right? Because just as I said, even in the beginning, right, you could have looked at this as, as a bull flag, right? So just before this one candle just came in, and most are looking probably towards that inverse head and shoulders, kind of completing, and you got this break right here. And if we zoom it out a little bit, right, that bull flag right there would have basically probably been the completion. Yeah. So that bull flag, if you would have shot it up, which, or whatever price action could still turn around, I suppose, but that would have basically completed that inverse head and shoulders. And then that would give everybody, the idea that we'd probably see, break that out. So, but at the same time, we just broke down, right? So now what do we look for, right? So this is why, we look to the levels, because, once again, if anybody in the Discord is going to wake up today and see us back down at 42K, 41.9, they won't be panicking, because we've been anticipating these levels here. So you came up here and you put that lower high right here. So we already anticipated seeing some more downside. If we put in a lower low in this region right here, then we're, it's pretty indicative that we're probably going to come back. We're probably going to run it back to some degree, whether it's this 40K, this 2-year key level right here, or we got, like I said, the cluster down here. So That's pretty much Bitcoin in that aspect. Still literally in the same range we've been within. Upside targets get activated as soon as we break this range high, but not until then. And a break and a hold, right? Like this is where you're seeing candle bodies close, preferably at least a 4-hour, and then realistically a daily, right? You want to see a daily close because you can still get a couple 4-hour candles close up here and shoot you down, right? Just like we saw up here. You got a 4-hour candle closed and just melt down, right? So yeah, I don't know what news is going on today, right? Like I haven't looked at any of that. This is almost just based, this is just based on market structure at this point right here, and looking down to the next levels that we're at. So if anything's getting listed right now, or any news is hitting, it's always interesting to see how it pairs up, right? Because it's always like hand in hand. But we went through this last night very, very in detail at about 9 o'clock last night, right? So for anybody in Filtered Life, you're in there, right? So we got the Leading Crypto Discord, Magic Internet Money and I. And last night, for anybody that did not see it, go ahead and click on live recordings, and that's where we have our weekly or midweek updates. So we do these live updates exclusively just for the members. Last night was a big one, right? So we actually do talk about why Monday is so important, and basically we just laid out all the expectations for Bitcoin, right, over the next few weeks. Very similar to our really big update back on Christmas Eve, which outlined that drop all the way down to $32,000. So very, very big. If you weren't able to catch that, check that out. It is about an hour and a half long. But I think it's worth it. And for anybody else that would like to join, like I said, the link is in my bio for Discord. You got myself, Magic Internet Money. If you're not following him, give him a follow here on TikTok. But you do get updates from both of us here. Like I said, exclusive market updates Wednesdays and Sunday nights at 9:30. We've got an academy here where we have almost 20 educational videos that basically teach you everything you'll need to know about creating charts, reading charts, even just to understand what we're looking at and why, to give you the levels that you want to pay attention for, and things of that nature. And we've also got order flow coming next week, which we've got an order flow specialist who lives out in Dubai who's going to be presenting order flow and open interest, which guarantee you're not going to find that anywhere else. So a lot of content, a lot of value that goes into this right here. So for anybody interested, link is in the bio. For anybody that's not, we'll continue here. All right, so yeah, perfect example, right? We were holding that weekly pivot, just lost it. We're basically heading back down to that quarterly level. So after that, you lose that, and this is the thing, right? Like for anybody that can't, pay attention to this all day, like you could set alerts. I live on alerts. I bring this up every day. You can set alerts here on TradingView, right? Add alert to horizontal ray. You can have this tell you when this line gets moved past, closed below, whatever. Otherwise, you can just do on the apps, on CoinMarketCap, on CoinGecko. There are ways to set alerts on price action as well. All right, so that's pretty much Bitcoin, right? So like I said, we'll be looking to see how the price reacts here. Essentially, we are just pretty much ranging within here, though, right? So we got a little mini range, so to speak, right here. So the top of this range basically comes into this golden pocket. The bottom of this range comes in actually right where we're bouncing off of right now. You got the point of control back up here. So very, very much a possibility that we could just be coming down to this mini range low and run it back to the upside too. So taking a look at this too on just that mini range, and I say mini range, but it's pretty much this whole month so far. But throwing that up here, right? You can see it. We basically, once again, just with these ranges, you run it from the low, you tag the high, you don't break the high, and you pretty much run it back to the low. So I'll go ahead and map this out a little bit so you can see this a little better. Right? You can see how we literally came right into the range low. This was our high. You can see the white line in the middle there. I know you got the golden pocket, everything kind of mixed in. But this range right here caught that rejection right at the high, put in a lower high in general, and we basically just melted right down to the range low. So If we hold that, we could just basically just range in between this little zone for a minute. And then as far as the range within a range, what we're looking for that 45.7 and 40, let's just call it 46K, get broken, lose everything to the downside. We got our levels that we're watching there as well. So, all right, I think that's where I'm going to finish it up here, everybody. And I will be back tomorrow for Friday's market update at about around 7:30 a.m. Eastern. So I hope you all have a great day, and look forward to seeing you again soon.